Okay, we'll call the meeting to order and we'll call the roll. Alvin, if you wouldn't mind calling the roll.
Okay, Mr. Christopher Collins,
Here,
Juanita Martinez. You're muted.
I'm here.
All right. Mr. Peter Alminas. I don't know if I said that correct, but
No, he's not here.
I don't see Peter.
okay,
No.
he's not here. Mr. Fred Miller,
Present.
Mr. Clarence Jones,
Here.
And there's Peter, he just came in.
Peter just came in, yeah.
okay. All right, and Mr. Frank Ryan is absent.
Okay. I see a member from the public here. If I recall, you're from Venture Pond,
Bass Pond.
Bass Pond, which they have asked to be continued. So
They
just so-
who?
the applicant,
Who is the city
well,
or
The company-
GZA?
yeah, GZA on behalf of the city asked to be, that they still have more information to provide.
So I guess I would just, if this is the right time to do it, just ask the question, what is taking so long? And are there any deadlines on this project? Because it's been in the pipeline for, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years. In this particular round, it's been months and keeps getting delayed. So it would be nice to know if there was any kind of an estimate of time and what's holding things up.
I don't have an estimate of time. They would have to, GZA would have to say their timetable when they figure that they will have all the information they need to provide to DEP. And we'll put them on the next agenda. I actually thought they were going to have it this week, but we did get a letter asking that both that project and Forest Park, I believe, that they asked them both to be delayed. And there are similar projects where they're doing similar things.
Yeah, I understand. It looks like someone from GZA is actually on this call. Can they address it at this time? Because they're different projects with different needs. And I know they have come out and assessed the pond and mapped it and done all that work. So I don't know if it's harming the project to have them lumped together because they are different bodies
Oh,
of
no,
water
they're-
with different needs.
They can proceed, they're not lumped together. They are separate filings. And they can certainly proceed when they're ready to proceed on either one of them, one at a time. They don't have to go together.
Okay.
You just turned on your microphone. Did you want to say
Yes.
something?
Yes, this is Adrian Dunk from GZA. Neither of these projects are my projects, so I can't speak to their specific status and timeline. They are similar projects, but as Chris said, they're not lumped together, so one's not holding up the other. The field work has been completed. So my understanding is that the data's been gathered, it's being analyzed, and the DEP comments and questions are being addressed. So it is underway and it has moved forward, but it's not yet at a state to come back to the Conservation Commission.
Does it generally take weeks on end for that to occur, for people to come up with the reports once they do the field studies?
It can, yes, there was significant mapping involved.
And these
All
kind
right,
of projects where there's water quality and where they're treating aquatic vegetation, it can take a lot longer than other typical projects we deal with.
Right. As you can well imagine, we're just watching the pond basically go to rack and ruin before our very eyes, the more time that goes by. So people that live on the pond or use the pond are getting anxious about the project and wanting to know what's going to happen. So I'm kind of taking the lead of the people that have frontage on the pond, which is why I'm coming to the meetings and asking the questions.
No, I saw you there and I didn't want you to sit through any other of the issues. And
Yeah.
then and sit there waiting. I just, because
Yeah,
I know I recognize you being from Bass Pond.
thank you. I appreciate it. So is it possible to request a time estimate from GZA? Like when can we anticipate these reports being completed instead of just being continued on forever?
I can contact the individuals working on this project and see what their timeline is. I'm not
Yeah,
sure what their specific project
yeah,
load.
You seem to be the one who's always here.
correct.
Diane,
What?
does GZA happen to have your email?
Yes,
They do. Okay.
yes. And I have a mailing list of all the interested parties and I'm trying to play this kind of point person so that GZA and other people don't get overwhelmed, but I'm sending out updates and it's kind of been in process delayed. And it's as you can imagine, people get frustrated.
Did we talk about, and maybe my memory's not serving me well. Did we talk about them sending you a notification ahead of time if there wasn't going to come on the meeting? Or did we not? We didn't.
No, I just kind of checked in with Phil. So,
Okay. Because I don't think it's too much. I wouldn't want them to have to notify all the neighbors, but if we do have one point person.
yeah.
So do you think we could pass that on? And if they're going to email the commission about if they're delaying Adrian, that they also notify her? Because they do have her email.
Yep, I will certainly communicate that to the project team.
Thanks. One last question. Is it the park department that is actually contracting with them to provide this work as the consultants? So it's the park department who is handling the project? Okay.
Yes.
And I know they're understaffed and et cetera, et cetera. So, okay, I appreciate it.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
All right. So item number 1 is North Side Elaine Street. And if didn't I see a request to continue that as well?
Yes, we did receive an email stating that they would like to continue this particular matter.
Okay. So the next one down is Parker Street. And that's Bass Pond. We just dealt with that one. The next one is Aquatic Gardens. They have asked to continue that. Okay, so we are now into property known as 619 Dwight Road, Franconia Golf Course. Who is here to present? Is that you?
Yes, Adrian Dunk from GZA Geo-Environmental here to present on behalf of the Parks Department for 619 Dwight Street, also known as Franconia Golf Course. This is DEP file number 294-0611. So the commission, if you all remember back to February 2021, getting our way back machines here. GZA came before the commission for an order of conditions to do maintenance dredging at the Franconia Golf Course in the pond that's in Pacusick Brook. And that was just maintenance dredging of the irrigation intake structure. That project was completed. And then this past fall, we received from the commission a certificate of compliance, which allowed this notice of intent before us tonight to become active again and under consideration. So this project was also submitted back in February 2021, but it was put on hold based on coordination with Mass DEP. Of only having one active order of conditions for an area on one property. So because that other one's completed, we can move forward now with this project, which is the full maintenance dredging of the pond. So we are proposing at this time to dredge the accumulated soft sediment from the irrigation pond at the golf course. And I will share my screen and just refresh all of our memories. Here is the golf course with our existing conditions. So this is Dwight Road. The brook flows on this page from right to left. And this is the irrigation pond itself. So the pond obviously contains the resources of the bank and then the land under water bodies and waterways. There are also vegetated wetlands along either side of the pond. And then the pond is mapped within floodplain, so some BLSF on site. And also there's the 25-foot riverfront area along Pacusick Brook. So at this time, what we are proposing is to fully dredge out the pond. We've measured there's about 3.5 feet of accumulated soft sediment, and that totals 1,400 cubic yards. So what we're proposing is to lay temporary construction mats to limit ground disturbance. And these construction mats would access in from either side of the pond. And then an excavator on these mats would be able to dig out the soft sediment. A turbidity curtain would be installed to segregate the given area of work. So the sediment curtain or the turbidity curtain would be moved around the pond as necessary to minimize sediment transport and suspension by segmenting off just the area that they're working in and allowing flow to continue unimpeded through the brook. And then the sediment, once dewatered, will be placed in an upland disposal area outside of Wetland Protection Act jurisdiction. We did include in the notice of intent the sediment sampling results. And so this sediment is clean enough for that reuse. This project will also require a 401 water quality certification, and that application is currently under review by Mass DEP. Are there any questions from the commission?
Adrian, go ahead, Juanita.
You know, I don't know if I'm just plain confused, but wasn't this just done?
So what was just done was a far more limited project. So it was because if we dredge under 100 cubic yards of sediment, our order of conditions can authorize that alone without the water quality certification. So only 100 cubic yards or less than 100 cubic yards was excavated in the immediate vicinity of the intake structure. And so that was to really just maintain that intake and keep it from getting clogged up. This project is aimed to more holistically solve the problem that the pond is very shallow and doesn't contain enough water to really maintain the irrigation needs. So that prior project was sort of a first step, and now this is the full intention of the project.
Juanita, the word that might be confusing you is the intake structure, which sometimes we would think about as where the stream enters the ponded area. It's not. It's the circle in the middle where the pump was. That had filled up as well. And that's the first project. They just dug the sediment out of that so that the pump could actually draw water. They didn't touch the bottom.
Okay.
bottom
I guess
of the
when I
pond.
was first looking at this, I was thinking of something else. Now I'm seeing it and I'm saying, wait a minute, that was, because I go by there. So I know that, when was that? What was that, a couple of years ago or?
It was performed early this spring.
Oh, okay.
So
It
yeah.
didn't
Alright.
take long. It didn't take long. They put the curtain, I mean, they put the portable roadway
Yeah.
down, and they were in and out of there pretty quickly.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I
My
saw the
aging brain
comments
here.
from the state, and I think you answered them completely. At least I felt you did.
Yes, do the commissioners have any questions or clarifications on those responses?
Did you consider where and it has nothing to do with your response to DEP.
Okay.
Where the stream comes in, and that would be what, the easterly side of the pond?
Yeah.
Have you ever considered putting a detention basin, like they have a detention pond where they catch sediments there? Like they've got in a couple of the ponds in the park? Do you have enough room there to do that?
My understanding is that based on the current interpretation of the regulations, those are no longer a favored management technique.
Hmm.
Those
So they'd
sediment
rather have you,
surveys,
they'd rather have you dig up the whole bottom of a pond than dig out a pool.
That's my understanding.
You don't have to comment. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, it does sound like there must be a reason, but it doesn't sound right, does it?
No, because they're in Barney Pond, Juanita.
Yeah,
where
I
they
know.
They catch the sediment there and they take it
Yeah.
out. And they do that relatively on a routine basis. And that prevents a project like this having to take place.
Yeah.
Um, But I don't have are there any other questions from the commission on Franconia? If not, then I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I make a motion, we close the public hearing for Franconia.
I'll
Thank
second.
you. I think I heard Peter first. So
No,
Peter
I think
second.
that was Fred.
Oh, was it Fred? Sorry about that. Okay, Alvin, if you call the roll.
Okay, Mr. Christopher Collins,
Yes.
sorry, grab my roster here, okay. Juanita Martinez,
Yes,
Peter Alminas,
Yes.
Fred Miller,
Yes.
Clarence Jones,
Yes,
Thank you. So that passes. We'll get an order together for you. I assume it'll be a relatively standard order, other than the fact that it'll probably address the dewatering and removing of the sediments off-site. Because that's not in our standard order. So that would be, but it's in other, Alvin, if whomever's trying to put it together from the office, you'll find other orders where we had that, a clause which you can pull out of it to put into it. So that we can get their order. When do you guys anticipate starting work?
I think work is planned for almost as soon as we can get our 401. But probably in late winter, early spring.
So you're okay. So Alvin, you're not under an immediate crunch. But we will get that out as soon as we can. They can't go forward
Wonderful.
until they've got the cert anyway. The other permit that we don't issue.
Right,
So,
we do need our order of conditions to get that other permit. So
okay,
we have to show the state we've obtained local approval first,
okay.
or they'll act.
All right, so then Alvin, I would, actually, you know what, look at the last one. Because in the last one, didn't we have a similar clause where the sediments had to be,
Yes,
Rem-
yep, they
do
were
what?
reused on site also. So yeah, the last order of conditions would have that language.
would have that language in it? So you could pull it right from the other one and put it into this one.
okay, what was the other example?
It was this pond back in April, I think.
Of 2021, and if you give me one moment. It was file number 2940611.
Can you give me those numbers again? Sorry.
2940611.
Okay. I'll look into
And
that.
it was issued on March 19th, 2021.
And that should have the language that you need which really should be able to be cut and paste right into this one.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we had a request for an emergency certificate, which we give them permission, and then the commission votes for an emergency certificate after the fact. And then they're supposed to file a full order of conditions afterwards. And what it was is there was a 10-gallon spill of fuel oil within 100 feet of the Chicopee River. It was in the parking lot over on Front Street in the Orchard. And they needed to get in there to do a cleanup right away. So they got an emergency permit to go do the cleanup. And then they file after they, we just need to verify that. It can be issued by either myself or like Kevin, if Kevin was still here. And then the full commission just votes on it at this point in time. And they are required to come back afterwards and file a full notice of intent. So we know how it went and what they did.
Okay, so I spoke with Mr. Bill Mitchell of Clean Soils Environmental. He stated he would not be on the Zoom call today. I told him probably wasn't necessary. However, I told him in the future he may be, or his organization may be asked to come back before the commission for a notice of intent. And he seemed to not believe he needed to come back before you guys. So he essentially stated that he reported it to DEP. For whatever reason, I guess he was supposed to contact you guys within 24 hours or the city. However, he didn't necessarily do that, but he is, I guess, stating that the spill happened, the spill was cleaned up, it was reported to DEP, but now he's now trying to go back into the process and trying to get this emergency certification just to ensure that, I guess, he's at least taken that step. But if you guys are stating that he needs to come back for a notice of intent, I will surely reach back out to his organization and
Yeah, and it's the statute. So, I mean, you can call the DP office. A lot of these guys like to pretend that part of it's not there. You know, certainly, and what the emergency permit is for conditions like this, where you have a spill or where you have a road washout, we've got to go stabilize it right away. And then come back in and do your notice of intent. I don't know that there's an exception for a spill. I think it follows the same process as any other emergency permit. I believe he does have to. Maybe he probably hasn't in other places, and we probably haven't questioned him on it. But I believe DEP would tell us if we didn't follow through on it, if we didn't.
Okay. So I'll reach out to him.
So I would just like a vote to certify that the emergency permit was issued. Somebody want to make a motion to verify the emergency permit?
I'll make a motion to verify the emergency permit.
Thank you, Fred.
I'll second.
Thank you. Go ahead, Alvin, if you'd call the roll, we'll have it recorded since we're,
Okay, Commissioner Collins,
yes.
Commissioner Martinez,
Yes,
Commissioner Alminas,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Good, thank you. So now we're into informational items, and the first one is a request to amend an order of conditions, and what we need to look at is if the work is,
do we have to come out of the public hearing?
no, we closed the public hearing last.
Oh, all right, that's right.
That wasn't a
That's what I
public
said,
hearing.
yeah.
Yeah.
The emergency one, sorry.
Right. If the work doesn't cross a certain threshold, you can just do it by amending the existing permit. So Adrian's here to tell us the work that they want to do.
Yes. So I'm here for Camp Star. I'm the rest of your agenda for tonight. So the order of condition can be amended if this body feels that the work is substantially similar to what was approved. and the intent of the project has not changed. My colleague Dan Shaw was here last meeting to discuss the project as kind of an overview. We've since provided the plans to the commission. And so this is for the Camp Star Angeline accessible trail. It was previously permitted and this part of the trail up here at the top of the ridge has been constructed. It's outside of jurisdiction. The trail previously came down and crossed this wetland higher up. Upon additional review of the area, this alternative route was identified. The route is shorter overall, so there's less impact. And then also the trail will not rely on retaining walls, which means that there's less maintenance for the city. And so the trail is more likely to remain in a very safe, suitable condition for those with mobility limitations. There will still be a wetland crossing. It's down here, lower down the wetland. So the difference in wetland alteration is 290 square feet instead of what was approved before was 250 square feet. The crossing will remain substantially similar, so it'll still be the same size culvert, which is pretty large. The culvert is 3 feet wide and 2 feet high, and it will be embedded with a natural material in the bottom of the culvert. So that satisfies the Army Corps conditions. And it's the same kind of standards that were previously approved. It's just, like I said, it's located lower down the hill. The other benefit of this plan is that though it still does require tree removal to construct the trail, more of the trees are located in the outer 50 feet of the buffer zone instead of in that inner 50 feet. So I think previously 20 trees were going to be removed in the inner the inner 50 feet, but now it's down to 8. No trees in the wetland. There are no trees in the wetland, just given its configuration. So that is the difference. The intent is the same. Any areas of grading will be seeded or planted with native species. And then the intent, yes, the intent remains the same, providing recreational access to individuals of any mobility level to reach the shores of Lake Porter.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a slight increase in the square footage.
There is, and so we had received approval before under 310 CMR 10.55 2C, which or 4C, which is for fill in a finger-like projection. And so that regulatory citation allows, if you have a wetland that has a finger-like projection, which this one is, you can fill up to 500 square feet without providing wetland replication. And so this proposed trail layout would still be approvable under that same citation.
So it's still way under, it's still a couple hundred feet under the limit.
Correct.
Now, in order to officially amend, we do have to have a public hearing, though, if I recall.
So you can amend. We did do legal notice.
We did.
We did. We did not have to provide a butter notification given where this area is within the larger parcel, but we did put a legal ad in the Republican, and I sent a copy of that tear sheet to Phil and Alvin.
Oh, okay. So we did do the publication. I didn't know if you were. I think there was asked a question whether or not, and I believe that we did need to, but well, in that case, we can actually approve the amendment this evening then.
Yes.
If the commission is of a mind to.
Correct.
Are there questions of the commission on the work? I don't know if someone started talking or if that's background noise. Any commissioners have questions on this work?
Mhm.
If not, does someone want to make a motion to approve the amendment to the order of conditions?
I'll make a motion to approve the amendment of the order of conditions for Camp Star.
Thank
I'll
you.
second.
Thank you, Peter. Okay, Alvin, if you just give the roll call.
Okay. Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Martinez,
Yes,
Commissioner Alaminas,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, so the next one is the Chapter 91 waterway license. That's
Yes.
you again.
That's also me. So this Chapter 91 waterway license is for Loon Pond Park. The commission previously approved the work largely in the buffer zone, but there's some work being performed in the pond, namely a fishing dock will be installed. So most of the work at the park has been complete, the work in the buffer zone. And at this time, before we can do the dock, we are required to get a Chapter 91 waterways permit, and that's for the Public Waterfront Act. Loon Pond is a great pond, and so a structure cannot be installed without the Chapter 91 license. We, at this time, don't require any action from the Conservation Commission, but you were notified that we are working through the application process, and the DEP is accepting comments on the project through November 12th.
And we anticipated this work, as if I recall, it was done in 2 phases, and we approved all the work ahead of time. This is more just keeping us up to speed.
Correct.
And that's also the other item, which is Loon Pond improvements, I assume.
Yep, Loon Pond improvement. Yes.
Okay, Alvin, did we have anything come in that didn't make the agenda?
We have an item for Tiffany Street. Can't recall at the top of my head, but it will be on for November 8th, as well as the
Right.
Duggan Field, Duggan Academy. They're installing a football field, and football field, I believe, baseball field. And
Track.
yes, track and field. So it's a decent, significant complex that they're putting in there, but that will come before you guys under informational for the next meeting. The Tiffany Street item is an NOI. I just can't recall at the top of my head what exactly it consisted of, but it will be on for November 8th. So 2 items.
Okay. Yeah, that's a big project behind Duggan. It's all way away from wetlands. Although they might be doing, while they're doing it, I think they're going to upgrade one of the paths down by the Leatherleaf Bog, which is down in there. And I think that might be part of it. But they're going to have to do a lot more engineering work than they anticipated there, because it's an old dump.
Yes, that's true.
And then so the parking lot just continues to sink, and so they've got a lot of geotechnical work to do there. So, but it'll be a great asset to the neighborhood and to the city. We need another complex, another football field. When we lost Plumfield, that made it hard for all the high schools. There's only one field, just Central Field now for football. So this will certainly make things easier for folks. And my belief is that they had made a guarantee at the time that the name Plum would go on the new field. Because they had taken, you don't like to take someone's name off of something, and that field was named after Ted Plum, who was a longtime coach. And I believe at the time there was a commitment made by, I don't know whether it was Park or whoever was going to be in charge of the ultimate project, that they would put his name back on the new field. So,
unless somebody comes up with bigger money. A bigger checkbook. I know his wasn't money, but if somebody came
No.
along with a,
I know the baseball diamond you're speaking of.
oh, I wasn't even thinking of that. I'm just thinking of in general. It's like
Oh,
the
I thought you were
stadiums.
I thought you were talking about Quinfield,
Oh, no,
which got
No.
renamed.
oh, no, I was just talking in general.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully that won't be the case.
Yeah.
So having gone through the agenda, if nobody has anything else, then in order to, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank
I'll
you.
second it.
Thank
I'll
you, Fred.
second it.
Okay,
Oh.
roll call.
Yep.
Okay, Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Martinez,
Yes.
Commissioner Alaminas,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller. Commissioner Miller, you're muted.
Yes.
All right, Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
All right, thank you all.